Alcohol and muscle gains. What's the deal here? Are you going to lose all your gains if you have some alcohol, or are you screwed if you go out and celebrate something? What's a good recommendation here? Well, Eric Trexler from Mass reviewed a recent study on alcohol and recovery and kind of went over some impacts that alcohol has. And a couple of things that he highlighted. So for one, when looking at someone who has about, so an 180-pound person, if they had about 8 standard drinks, so like 1 gram of alcohol per pound, it did impact recovery negatively for more strenuous activity. But for kind of less strenuous activity and less strenuous exercise, it didn't seem to have much of an impact. And when you cut that in half, so half of a gram per pound, so about 4 standard drinks for a 180-pound person, there wasn't significant effects on recovery. So from that line of research, it kind of seems like, hey, if you kind of keep your alcohol in moderate consumption, acutely at least, it's probably not going to have too much of an impact. Now, chronic, higher doses of alcohol seem to have a not great impact. And they seem to kind of negatively impact cortisol levels, testosterone levels, muscle protein synthesis, recovery, that sort of thing. So, chronic, high doses of alcohol are probably not the best idea. Additionally, alcohol seems to influence females a little bit less than males, which was almost kind of counterintuitive to me, because I feel like in a lot of things, males are, like in dieting, for instance, males tend to be a little bit more, I don't want to say resilient and make this sound like males are more resilient than females, but I feel like males tend to respond a little bit better to more aggressive type diets and stuff like that, and females, you might have to coax things a little bit more. And this is somewhat supported by research as well. So don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that males are more resilient than females, like in a broad sense, just in the context of like dieting and that sort of thing. But in terms of alcohol, it seems as though females tend to not be affected quite as much. And there's some scientific rationale mechanistically in the way that they metabolize things, but that's way over my head, so not going to get into that. But I think that the big takeaway here is that, hey, moderate alcohol consumption every once in a while probably isn't going to hamper things like crazy. And I could even see the argument that, hey, if having a few drinks once a week or something like that allows you to have better social relationships and allows you to de-stress and that sort of thing, then the cost to benefit there is probably pretty dang close. And it's totally up to you on what you want to do. But in terms of not affecting your gains and stuff like that, I think that having a few drinks every once in a while isn't going to hamper things a whole lot. Now, something interesting that I learned in school this week was we are talking about the mechanisms of muscle hypertrophy. And specifically, we looked at how metabolic training can help hypertrophy. And Dr. Schoenfeld has a really cool article, I think it's like 2013, Mechanisms of Metabolic Hypertrophy or something like that. And it goes into like cellular swelling and reactive oxygen species and that sort of thing and how that works. But something I learned was that cellular swelling may potentially be an independent driver of hypertrophy. And the paper that I read on this, it was like 1993, so it was a while ago. However, the mechanisms probably haven't changed a whole lot. And this paper kind of went into how the cellular swelling of a muscle can kind of signal for glycogen uptake in the muscle and can affect certain amino acid pathways and can have an impact on kind of muscle metabolism and potentially improve your postprandial or post-meal insulin sensitivity and that sort of thing. So I thought it was interesting to see that, hey, cellular swelling, I've kind of heard that it has a potential effect on anabolism, but it was cool to see this study, the kind of mechanistic rationale behind this. So I thought that was interesting. As for life updates, I've got like 3 cold sores on my mouth there, which is just nasty. And then I've got a big old skin blemish that hurts when I even put my glasses on. So I don't know what's going on with the face here. Don't get me wrong, I still look pretty good, but I think I should probably cut it there. See ya.